Hey guys, in this video we'll be continuing with the Python video series. We'll be going over tuples. So we'll be moving on from lists. We'll be doing a few videos on tuples. And then we'll be moving on to dictionaries. Actually, we'll have some string methods and then dictionaries after that. So tuples. A tuple is an immutable sequence, which means that its contents cannot be changed. A tuple is a sequence very much like a list. The primary difference between tuples and lists is that tuples are immutable. That means once a tuple is created, it cannot be changed. So that's different than lists. So basically, lists are mutable. So that means once a tuple is created, it cannot be changed. When you create a tuple, you enclose its elements in a set of parentheses, as shown in the following. So I'll do an example in a sec. But just pretty much tuples they're different. It's kind of its own thing in Python. It's unique. In other languages, you don't really have tuples in like other programming languages. Or at least most of programming languages. Yeah, so as well as dictionaries, we'll go over that later on, but dictionaries it's kind of all, these are all unique things to Python. Dictionaries are actually just a hash map or a hash function, which in that sense, it's other programming languages have them. It's just they're not called dictionaries, much like lists. In Python, an array basically is a list. But other languages don't use them like that. They have array lists, but they don't have lists. Where basically it's just its own thing like an array. It's basically an array as we mentioned before, but tuples are its own thing in Python. So we'll just go over it. So we can have a tuple example here. So we could just have like tuple, maybe tuple, val tuple, points to some. Tuple in this case is just parentheses like that. And then we can print out the tuple. So we can print out val tuple like that. It's pretty simple. We're just creating a tuple and printing it. So there's our tuple there. Hopefully you guys can see that. So nothing too hard with them. There's no 2D tuple, so it's just like that. So the first statement creates a tuple containing its elements. Obviously just some numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's an int tuple. So we assign this tuple to a variable named val tuple. So that's the variable name, which points to this tuple. The variable name here on the left of the equal sign, and then tuple on the right side. The equals is points to or equals to. You can say points to or set to. I usually just say points to. You may see other coders say set is set to or whatever. So anyways, so the second statement sends the tuple, the val tuple, as a parameter to the print function, which displays its elements. So we can use a for loop to iterate over the elements in a tuple as well. So we can have tuple, no, tuple strs. Tuple strings, so strs is point for strings, and we'll point it to some values, maybe some like food stuff. Maybe we'll just do fruits. So we'll have like berries. What other fruits we have? Maybe like plums. We can have apples. So berries, plums, and apples are in our tuple strings, or in our tuple strs. So it's a tuple containing different strings, and so then we can just iterate through with the for loop. So if we say for I in, or we can even say for str in tuple. For str in tuple strs, we can print str. So for str in tuple strs, print str. Save that and run it. We'll get our tuples here: berries, plums, and apples. So nothing too complicated there. Pretty simple stuff. Again, tuples are a data structure, lists are a data structure, dictionaries are a data structure. They store data inside them. So that's pretty much it. We'll just do a few more examples and then an example code. So like lists, like lists, tuple support indexing. So you can index them as well. So we did a for loop like this for str in tuple strs. We can also do it like this. So let's just print some kind of spacing. Maybe add a new line in there. So let's do this again. Let's loop through again. So let's say for str in the range. We can use the range function of the len function of tuple strs. We can print str. Whoops, forgetting something here. So we can print out. Instead of that, we can actually do we can print out. Instead of just printing out str like that, we can also do it a different way. We can call our tuple and then call its index of str. So you can mix and match. Both things should accomplish the exact same thing, so we'll just print it out. So there we go, 2 ways to do the exact same thing. There's probably many more ways to do this. So we've taken this code, created a tuple, looped through it with a for loop in a simple way, probably the easiest way, and then we've actually done the same thing. I wouldn't even think of using the range function. I'd just stick with this, but again, these for loops are slightly different in Python anyways. They're different than other languages because you have the in. So either way works, whatever you want, nothing too hard. You may just need to note down the syntax for a later time so you can remember if you're looking at different languages. So anyways, we'll move on here. Just maybe some more information. So as we said, like lists, tuples support indexing as shown, as we just discussed here. So moving on, maybe perhaps with just some more concepts here. So tuples support all the same operations as lists, except those that change the contents of the list. So tuples support the following subscript indexing for retrieving element values only. Methods such as index, built-in functions such as len, min, and max, slicing expressions, the in operator, the dot and comma operators. So tuples do not support methods such as, I think dot and comma scratch that. I think I'm looking at some notes here that are for something else. So we have, just basically once again, I'll just repeat that. So in fact, tuples support all the same operations in lists except those that change the contents of the list or modify the list. So basically mutate the list. Tuples support the following subscript indexing. For retrieving element values only, methods such as index, also built-in functions such as len, min, max, slicing expressions, we can use the in operator, and that's about it. The last bit, I can't see what it is, so let's just forget it. I think that's it, to be honest. Actually, I think it's the multiply sign and the dot operator. But you can always try that. Like, you know how we expanded out a list? I think you can expand out a tuple, perhaps. You can try it if you really need to try it. I don't think you really will need to be forced to do that. There's other ways to do things. So basically the tuples don't support methods such as append, remove, insert, reverse, and sort. So if you're probably taking this, if you're taking a Python university class or whatever, college, university, same thing. If you're taking some kind of class, even if you're taking this in high school, I know that they now support, well, some schools, they support programming in high school. So if you're taking this in some environment where you can get tested at a higher level, you probably will get tested. There will probably be a test question on there that's asking you what are the differences and similarities between lists and tuples, and it's going to be worth a lot. It's a pretty good question, and it's usually part of the Python core learning concepts. You may even need to compare those to dictionaries as well. And actually, Python isn't too hard to learn. We're almost done here. We just have dictionaries. We just have some string methods, dictionaries, and some classes and some OOP stuff. So some object-oriented programming. Just a few more. So only 3 more chapters here, and we're done. And that's like the base of Python. There is some stuff where you can use different methods to draw things. I kind of skipped that. But pretty much that's about it, so it's not very hard to learn. So I believe that the difference between lists and tuples will be a big chunk, will be a big question on the test if you're taking a test. So once again, if we try to call our tuple here, I want to say, okay, what can we do with it? Well, we're not getting any other methods here. So if we say dot append, we say we want to append like chicken or something to the end, and we run it, we'll get an exception. The attribute error, so tuple, so an error exception, there's no tuple object has no attribute append, so we can't use that. We can't really modify it. We can't add anything to the end of it. So it's unmutable, as we said. So if you want to create a tuple with just one element, you must write a trailing comma after the element's value. I'm not exactly sure why they did that, but you can have a tuple as, so we have maybe val tuple points to, we can, like, you have to do it like this. You have to put a comma in there. Save and run, you'll see we'll get the value I don't know, maybe they might have changed it, versions of Python, but let's try that. Well, you can do that as well. So they may have changed the Python version since then. So either way works. I think you might actually, I think if it's an actual tuple, you may need to keep that in there. So that it knows that it's not just brackets around some expression, like some kind of math expression. Okay, so hopefully this should still be correct today. So if you omit the comma as we just did, you will not create a tuple. The code will still run, so it'll be taken as just an integer with brackets around it, basically. So hopefully that makes sense. So we will. So what is the point of tuples? So the only difference. So if the only difference between lists and tuples is immutability, you might wonder why tuples exist. I don't. I think it's a good, if one's immutable and one's mutable, I think it's a good reason to have it. Another reason that tuples exist is performance. Processing a tuple is faster than processing a list, so that may also be on a test as well. So tuples are they're faster to process than a list. So they're faster, they run faster in apps and all that. So tuples are a good choice when processing lots of data, and the data will not be modified. Another reason is that tuples are safe because you're not allowed to change the contents of the data, at least in Python. So if you're writing an app in Python, that may come in handy. If you need to keep everything the way it is or something, there's probably a good time. There will be a time where that will need to happen. So it helps you keep your data safe because you're not allowed to change the contents of a tuple. You can store data in one tuple and not have to worry that it will be modified accidentally or by any code in your program. At least working with the Python code. So additionally, there are certain operations in Python that require the use of a tuple. So as we learn more about Python, or as you learn to continue Python learning even after the video series ends, you may come across that stuff. So you can also, I'm just wondering if I should do this in the next video or this one. Let's see here. Maybe we'll just do it in this one, just finish it up here. So converting between lists and tuples. You can use the built-in function, the list with parentheses, so the built-in list function to convert a tuple to a list. And the built-in tuple function, tuple with parentheses, to convert a list to a tuple. The following interactive session demonstrates. So we will demonstrate with some code here. So let us work with this val tuple. So tuples all in one lesson here, so we'll have val tuple points to like some random numbers. Something. Anything. Doesn't really matter. So we have some random numbers. You can think of them as maybe just some digits in memory or something. So we'll have we can now take our val tuple. Nope, sorry, apologize. So we'll take val list and point it to the list function, passing in our val tuple. So it's really simple to convert it, and then we'll just print our val list. we'll print our, actually let's print our val tuple. We'll say that the val, we'll say that it's a tuple, comma, we'll pass in val tuple, and then we'll print out the string list, comma, we'll pass in the val list. Save it and we'll run it. As you can see, we have our tuple here enclosed in the parentheses, and then our list is enclosed with the square brackets. So we've now converted them. Of course, we can convert them back the other way around. So we can delete all that. We can have a list of, we can have a val list points to some values again. So we'll just create some kind of list here. So we have a list. Oops, did I forget the equal sign? So we have a val list points to some list of integers. You can use strings, whatever. Actually, maybe we'll do strings because we just did integers. So let's have let's say we had some kind of like orange, so it's maybe like some a foods list again. Some kind of random things that I just gonna think of quickly. Turkey and stuffing, mashed potatoes, whatever you want. So we have just some strings in here. So our val list here, so it's a val list, which is string basically. Let's maybe look over for the str list. So now we can say we want to say str tuple, or tuple str, whatever, points to tuple passing in str list. And once again, we can print out our list, comma, pass in str list, and then we can print our tuple, pass in with a string, comma, we'll pass in our str tuple. Really easy. We'll just save it and print it. So here we have our list printed out. As you can see, enclosed in square brackets, we have our string, oranges, rice, barbecue, shrimp, turkey, and stuffing, and then on the next line we have our tuple enclosed in parentheses. Same thing, oranges, rice, barbecue, shrimp, turkey, and stuffing. So here basically we have that's about it. That's all tuples done in one video in about half an hour almost. So there you go, guys. In the next video we'll be discussing string methods. We'll be doing string methods for a few videos. This series will probably be long, over 50 videos, maybe almost 100. So yeah, so it will be done pretty soon. Just 3 more chapters left. I think at this point we've done 7 chapters, so we've done quite a bit. So we're almost done, as you can see. Just 30% more left in the series. So thanks for watching, guys. If you like the video, you can like the video. You can subscribe to the channel if you like for more programming and investing tutorials, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.